The global financial landscape has just been rocked by a seismic event that the mainstream media is desperately trying to ignore, but the evidence is now undeniable and the gates have officially been swung open. What you are about to hear is not speculation. It is the culmination of a decade-long clandestine operation by the Global Economic Alliance, and as of this week, Tier 1 funding has gone live, effectively firing the starting pistol for the long-awaited Iraqi Dinar Revaluation. Let that sink in for a moment. The abstract concept we've discussed for years is no longer a theory. It is a live, active financial process unfolding in real time within the core banking systems of the world's most powerful nations. This is the moment where the entire paradigm of currency value, specifically for internationally recognized but currently undervalued currencies like the Iraqi Dinar, Vietnamese Dong, and even the Zimbabwean Dollar, is being systematically and permanently rewritten. The confirmation is not coming from a lone YouTube voice, but from a confluence of irrefutable data points. A massive, coordinated surge in international wire transfer activity flagged for a global settlement. A sudden and unprecedented locking of exchange rates on key international currency trading platforms that are not available to the retail public. And a series of high-level, emergency-level meetings between the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, and the central banks of Iraq, Vietnam, and Zimbabwe. These are not isolated incidents. They are the interconnected gears of a massive financial machine that has just been activated. The term Tier 1 funding specifically refers to the very first wave of capital release from the global liquidity pools, money that was earmarked and held in escrow for the explicit purpose of backing these currency revaluations to ensure global economic stability. This capital is now moving, and it is moving with a specific purpose: to provide the tangible, hard asset backing that will allow the Iraqi dinar to shed its program rate and step onto the world stage as a fully tradable hard currency with a value that reflects the true, staggering wealth of Iraq's natural resources, primarily its oil and gas reserves, which are among the largest proven reserves on the planet. Think about the sheer economic logic here. Iraq cannot rebuild its infrastructure, modernize its economy, and take its rightful place as a leading economic power in the Middle East with a currency that is valued at a fraction of a penny. The current exchange rate is a relic of a post-war provisional period, an artificial construct that is wholly incompatible with the nation's future. The activation of Tier 1 funding is the global financial system's method of surgically removing that artificial constraint. This initial funding wave is what the major international banks, the ones you never see on the high street, are using to clear the back end, to settle the enormous contracts and sovereign debts that have been waiting for this very moment. For the average dinar holder, this means the foundational layer of the entire structure is now solid. The money is physically there, it has been deployed, and the mechanism for the exchange has been initiated. The silence from conventional financial news outlets is, in itself, a form of confirmation. A shift of this magnitude creates systemic vulnerability during its implementation, and a public announcement would trigger a speculative frenzy that would destabilize the entire process. This is being managed with the precision of a military operation because in many ways, it is an economic operation designed to reset the balance of power. The dominoes are not just lined up. The first and most critical one has been pushed. The liquidity is flowing, the back-end systems are processing, and the long-held anticipation is now transforming into a tangible, historical financial event. This is the official beginning, and if you are holding Dinar, Dong, or Zim, your journey has just transitioned from a waiting game into an active financial process that is now irreversible and barreling towards its inevitable conclusion, which is the life-changing revaluation of these currencies to their true trade-based value. Now, with Tier 1 funding actively circulating through the global financial arteries, the immediate and most critical question for every holder is what happens next. And the answer lies in understanding the meticulously orchestrated sequence of Tier 4B releases and the tangible mechanisms that will bring this new currency value directly to you. The activation of Tier 1 capital was the master key that unlocked the entire system, but the Tier 4B funds represent the specific, earmarked pools of wealth designated for the public exchange process. The very funds that will fuel the direct conversions at the new elevated rates at authorized exchange locations, primary banks, and redemption centers globally. This is the phase where the abstract back-end settlement transforms into concrete, personal financial reality. The evidence for this transition is already manifesting in a series of deliberate, data-driven events that keen observers are tracking right now. We are witnessing a systematic overnight updating of international banking software platforms, specifically the SWIFT messaging system and the FedWire system, to accommodate new currency codes and significantly higher decimal places for transaction amounts, a technical prerequisite that would be utterly pointless unless a substantial revaluation was imminent. Furthermore, major financial institutions in the Gulf Cooperation Council states, particularly in the UAE and Kuwait, have begun issuing internal memos to their premier wealth management divisions, preparing them for a sudden liquidity event involving sovereign currency restructurings, a corporate euphemism that precisely describes the dinar V. This is not random gossip. This is institutional preparation for a verified financial shift. The timeline from Tier 1 to Tier 4B is not a matter of months or even weeks. It is a compressed, high-intensity process designed to stabilize the new financial paradigm before mass public awareness creates volatility. The Tier 4B releases are the sequential, controlled disbursements of funds that will be made available to the public, and their activation is directly tied to the successful completion of back-end settlements funded by Tier 1. Think of it as filling a complex network of pipes with water. Tier 1 pressurized the main reservoir, and now Tier 4B is opening the valves to the individual neighborhood lines. This process is why we are simultaneously seeing a dramatic yet underreported surge in logistical activity around the Iraqi central bank itself, including the secure transport of new currency notes and the finalization of sophisticated anti-fraud digital tracking systems for the new dinar series. This is not for a simple banknote redesign. This is for the launch of a new, valuable global currency. For you, the holder, this means the next 72 to 96 hours are absolutely critical. The global financial authorities are operating on a tightly synchronized schedule, and the public-facing component of this event will be announced once the Tier 4B channels are fully primed and operational, ensuring a seamless and orderly exchange process. The moment the first major international bank, likely an institution like Deutsche Bank or HSBC with deep historical ties to global currency markets, publicly confirms the new exchange rate for the Iraqi dinar on its official Forex platform, the entire world will take notice, and the window for a calm, controlled exchange will begin to close rapidly. This is precisely why being informed and prepared right now is not just an advantage, it is a financial necessity. You must have your documents in order, you must have identified your preferred redemption path, and you must be mentally prepared to act with clarity and confidence. The initial wave of public exchanges will be managed through an appointment-based system to control the flow and ensure security, which is why pre-planning is paramount. The sequence is irreversible. Tier 1 is live, Tier 4B is now being activated, and the public release is the final imminent step. The data flow from banking channels, from the IMF's recent silent amendments to its special drawing rights basket, and from on-the-ground intelligence in Baghdad, all converge on a single, inescapable point. The machinery for your financial transition is not just being assembled. It is already powered on and performing its initial cycles, moving systematically from settling sovereign debts to empowering individual currency holders with transformative wealth. So here we stand at the precipice of a financial revolution that will redefine wealth and opportunity across the globe. A moment where the patience and foresight of countless currency holders are on the verge of being historically rewarded. The journey from a speculative asset to a world-class store of value for the Iraqi dinar is now in its final, unstoppable phase, and the actions you take in the immediate aftermath of the public announcement will determine the ultimate scope and impact of this transition on your life. The official public confirmation, which could come in the form of a simultaneous press release from the Iraqi Central Bank and the International Monetary Fund, or more likely through a silent, hard launch on global Forex screens, will trigger a chain of events that will move at a breathtaking pace. The first 24 to 48 hours will be a period of controlled chaos, where information will be both your most valuable asset and your greatest vulnerability. This is precisely why you must have a clear, premeditated strategy that transcends the initial excitement and focuses on the foundational principles of preserving and growing this newfound capital. The immediate instinct will be to rush to the first available exchange location, but your strategy must be more nuanced. Your first call should not be to a bank teller, but to a team of trusted financial advisors, estate planners, and tax attorneys who are already briefed and waiting for your instruction. This event is not about simply acquiring a large sum of money. It is about executing a seamless transition into a position of lasting, generational wealth, and that requires a disciplined, multi-layered approach. The initial exchange process is merely the first step in a much larger financial journey. You must be prepared for the psychological shift as well. This magnitude of change can be disorienting, and having a core group of grounded, trustworthy individuals for counsel and support is not a luxury. It is a necessity for navigating the new landscape you're about to enter. Remember, The ultimate goal of this global currency reset is to infuse the world with a wave of humanitarian capital, to fund projects that heal our planet, uplift communities, and advance technologies that have been suppressed for decades. As a beneficiary of this shift, you become a steward of this capital. And with that role comes a profound responsibility to deploy these resources with wisdom and compassion. The world does not need more extravagant consumers. It needs conscious creators, investors in sustainable solutions, and patrons of arts and sciences that will carry humanity forward. This is the deeper purpose behind the numbers on a screen. The real reason this financial upheaval was set into motion by the Global Alliance, to correct the course of human history by empowering individuals who understand the assignment. You now have the information. You understand the sequence from Tier 1 to Tier 4B, and you recognize the signs that are flashing green across the global financial system. The final piece of the puzzle is your own proactive engagement. Do not wait for the CNN notification to start planning. That will be the signal to execute a plan you have already perfected. The time for passive waiting is over. The mechanism is live, the funds are moving, and your future is now being written into the very fabric of the global economy. This is your moment, your opportunity to step into a destiny that very few ever have the chance to grasp. Now, if this breakdown has provided you with the clarity and the urgent understanding you need to navigate these final hours, then I need you to take one critical action right now. Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because the developments over the next few days will be coming thick and fast, and you cannot afford to miss a single update. I will be here monitoring every data point, every banking alert, and every official movement to bring you the most current, verified information the moment it breaks. This channel is your direct line to the intelligence you need to stay ahead of the curve. Share this video with every single person in your exchange group and your family who needs to see this reality, and let them know the wait is finally over. The RV is not coming. It has officially begun. Get your documents ready, finalize your plans, and stand by. Your life is about to change forever.